Blast sneak peek is on Sunday, which means the Blackwing support is very nearly here in the TCG. I've already done a video on Blackwings and how to play the deck, but a few things have changed since then. We've had a ban list in which Hulk was banned and Steam the Cloak is now legal. Now, I didn't use Hulk in the previous combos, however, I know a lot of people who were making Blackwing combos at the time were using Hulk. So if you are looking for a new Blackwing combo that you can do, this is the best that I have come up with so far. So it's going to be a 2-card combo, 1.5 really, so it's Simoon the Poison Wind plus any Blackwing. If you see Simoon the Poison Wind, you'll probably see another Blackwing since the deck is about 22 Blackwing monsters, or at least my version of the deck is. So we're going to jump straight into this. And we are going to start by activating our Simoon the Poison Wind, banishing this Crystal Cracker Dawn, which could be any Blackwing, placing a Black Whirlwind, and normal summoning to Simoon the Poison Wind, which will allow us to trigger the Black Whirlwind to search for a Sufri. We can then normal summon Sufri and use both its effect and the Black Whirlwind's effect, the Black Whirlwind to search for Vata and the Sufri to search for a Shamal. From here we can use the Shamal effect, and that is going to allow us to place a new Black Whirlwind to our field, the Black Feather Whirlwind, and then afterwards we can special summon this Vata the Knave, sending itself as well as a Zephyros the Elite and a Harmattan from our deck to have the requisite levels to special summon a Blackwing Dragon from the extra deck. This is going to trigger our Black Feather Whirlwind to special summon back the Vata that we just sent to the graveyard. We can then use the Vata and the Sufri to go for a copy of, I forget your name, Nofung, which is going to give us an extra normal summon this turn for a Blackwing. And we are going to use the Shamal on the summon of the Nofung to add back this Sufri, since the normal summon effect is a soft once per turn, so you can use it as many times as you can normal summon it. And this, of course, will also trigger our Black Whirlwind again. So we're going to get another 2 searches here. The Black Whirlwind is going to pick up the Orochi, and the Sufri is going to pick up the Twin Shadow. From here, we're going to link off our Nofung and our Sufri, since we're not locked into Synchro, since we never use Sufri's second effect, to go into a Wisestrix. This is going to allow us to summon another copy of Shamal from the deck. From here, we are going to use the Zephyros effect to bounce the Black Feather Whirlwind and special summon itself. We would obviously take damage here, but I haven't actually been taking the damage from effects. I'm sure you'll be able to work out where you're supposed to take damage. From here, we're just going to link off the Zephyros and the Wisestrix to go for a copy of Bardiche. Now, a couple of my friends are annoyed that I keep doing Bardiche combos with Blackwing, because they don't think it's very good, because it's 2022. However, you do just need to get a Link monster in the graveyard for Savage Dragon, since it is one of the best Dark Synchro monsters you can go into when you are locked into Darks, and you're primarily summoning Synchros. So you need to go through some form of Link line to turn on your Savage Dragon. We're going to immediately use the Bardiche effect to send a Ancient Cloak to the graveyard and set a Fog Blade. I'm placing it face up so you can see what interruptions you have on the board. And then we're going to use the Ancient Cloak's effect to search for a Silent Boots. From here, we're going to use the Twin Shadow from our hand, since we control 2 Blackwings. I'm going to put back the Harmattan and the banished Sufri to special summon a Boreas the Evil Winds from the extra deck. And then we are going to use the effect to send Steam the Cloak to the graveyard, making him a level 3. From here, we can just special summon this copy of Silent Boots, since we control a Phantom Knight monster, and sync it off with the level 3 Boreas to go for a Muddy Mud Dragon. Now, if you don't know what Muddy Mud Dragon does, has the same effect that all the Mud cards have, I guess, where they can be used as substitute for a fusion material whose name is specifically listed on a fusion card, and it also allows you to perform a fusion summon using this Synchro Summoned card. So we are going to use it here with the Blackwing Dragon to make a copy of Dragoon. Since Dragoon specifically mentions Dark Magician, we can use the Muddy Mud Dragon for that. And the Blackwing Dragon is in fact a Dragon Effect monster, not a winged beast, so it is the other requisite material. From here, we are going to activate this Black Feathered Whirlwind. It's a soft once per turn, and since we bounced it to our hand with Zephyros, we can reactivate it to get the Reborn effect again. We're going to special summon the Orochi here, since we're about to get rid of the rest of our Blackwings, that being the Shamal and the Sufri, to go into a Savage Dragon. We're then going to trigger the Savage Dragon and the Black Feather Whirlwind on the Synchro Summon to special summon back this Blackwing Dragon from our graveyard, since Savage Dragon obviously has more attack points. And then we can sync off the Blackwing Dragon and the Orochi to go for a copy of Hot Red Dragon Archfiend. We're not quite done. We can banish the Blackwing Dragon and the Boreas the Evil Wind from our graveyard to special summon this copy of Blackwing Assault Dragon. Finally, we can banish this Boots from our graveyard to search for a copy of Phantom Knight's Fogblade. That is the last piece of material on our board and our last interruption. In the end phase, our Black Whirlwind is going to go to the graveyard and we're going to take 1,000 damage. Since we didn't bounce it, we decided to bounce the Black Feather Whirlwind to extend a little bit further. But this is the end board. So the end board is 2 copies of Fogblade, which are obviously monster negates. I'm just going to press next so you can see it on the right hand side there. 2 copies of Fogblade, which are monster negates. They're traps, so they don't fall into Dark Ruler anymore. So if you get Dark Ruler and you can't negate it with the hot red, you still have some form of interaction for your opponent's turn. We have the Savage Dragon, which is obviously an Omni Negate, and he is 3,700, I believe, with 2 counters, so 2 negates on him. Obviously, you only use 1 per turn. The Bardiche is not really that relevant. He's stuck on the board because you can't link him off or synchro with him because he's a link monster. We have the Blackwing Assault Dragon, which has a Masquerade, so your opponent has to pay 700 to, or inflicts damage. You inflict damage to them every time you place a Black Feather counter and that effect doesn't activate, which is really, really cool. When your opponent's trying to play through a board this large and you're doming them for 700 every time they activate a card, pretty good. We have the Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss. Now, I like ending on this board, especially when you're going for a Bardiche combo, I would say this monster, ending on this monster, because it means if your opponent Dark Rulers you, you can activate the Fog Blade targeting the Bardiche or another monster if the one is relevant on the board, and then you can chain the Hot Red to negate the Dark Ruler more. So you have an instant out to one of the biggest board breakers in the format. I know MBT did a video on Blackwings, and he said, man, one of the biggest issues he found with the deck is like not being able to play through board breakers. You can play through Dark Ruler on this, you still lose the Super Poly though. Finally, we have Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, who's obviously an Omni Negate. You have to discard a card, it can't be destroyed by card effects, and it can't be targeted. The not being able to be destroyed by card effects is very relevant, since Blackwing Assault Dragon is obviously a board nuke. Once it gets to 4 counters, is it? Yeah, so you can remove 4 Black Feather counters and destroy all cards in the field. Dragoon can't be destroyed by either player's card effects, so the Dragoon will stay, which means you have some presence on the board if you have to nuke the board for whatever reason. So we talked about all of these. In our graveyard, we have this copy of Steam the Cloak, which is going to be able to use this effect on our follow-up turn. So let's say that the entire board gets cracked somehow. We can use a Fog Blade to bring back the Bardiche, tribute the Bardiche to summon the Steam, normal summon a Blackwing, go into a Blackwing Synchro, then we can trigger the Shamal to add back something, and then go off from there. So we have plenty of gas left in our graveyards if our opponent manages to get through our board. And obviously we have 3 other cards in hand, because this was only a 2-card combo. The only other thing we have to talk about in this end board is Black Feather Whirlwind's second effect. Since Blackwing Assault Dragon places the Black Feather counters without activating, having the Feather Whirlwind as protection is actually pretty strong. So it says here, once per turn if a dark monster you control will be destroyed by battle or card effects, you can remove 1 Black Feather counter from your field instead. That says dark monster, so you can protect your Savage Dragon, your Abyss, your Assault Dragon. You protect anything with the Black Feather Whirlwinds, and you're always going to have a wedge counter on the field, or a Black Feather counter, should I say, because Assault Dragon just generates them every time your opponent activates a card, or activates a monster effect, should I say, which is really, really good. So yeah, that's the board. I'm pretty happy with it. I don't really see how I can make it any stronger, because I've pretty much depleted the majority of the good darks you can get to in Blackwings, especially like the Synchro pool isn't that fantastic. You think it's a lot better than it actually is. The only other monster you could potentially get on this board is a Draco Berserker, but I wouldn't go out of my way to try and add that to this board. It's already strong enough as it is. Yeah, so that's the video. If you enjoyed it, please let me know in the comments, and leave a like, subscribe for more future content. I'm planning to pick this deck up, and I might do like some local vlogs and that sort of stuff with the Blackwing deck. So if you want to see that, make sure to stay around, and I will see you guys next time. Have a good one.